The Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, has just come out, and although there are many players who are loving the game, it has been getting a lot of mixed reviews on Steam. And in this video, we're going to be going over some of those reviews and just seeing what people have to say. Of course, if you're a fan of my content and would like to help support my channel, then ask if you can borrow the like button's car, and then get an old piece of chicken that's already gone bad, slice it up into as many small pieces as possible, and hide those rotting pieces of chicken all over the like button's car. Also, if you could please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified whenever my new videos drop. I talk about gaming, movies, TV shows, and anime, and I upload 3, 4, even 5 times a week. And so, with all of that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so here we are on Steam, and let's just go down. We are on the Shadow of the Erdtree page. You may not be able to see it too well, but we have mixed reviews. 51,617 reviews, and it has been mixed. So if I click on this, and here's all the positive ones, let's sort by the negative ones, which are quite a bit. I mean, the positive ones are 44,000 and the negative ones are 20,000. Let's go through and see what people are saying. We have, let's see, those negative, date range, lifetime. That's fine. Let's just go through some of these, and I'm going to read some of them off, and let's see if, as long as they're not too long. So this first user named Banana Life, and I haven't pre-read any of these, so hopefully they don't say anything too bad. I liked half of the DLC, but I felt like a lot of it was really lazy. They reused a lot of assets. It has frame drops during boss fights, and some of the map feels really empty. The final boss took me like 5 hours and 40 minutes to beat, but it felt kind of overkill for anyone average. He's probably going to get nerfed. For $40, I was kind of hoping for a lot more bosses and more unique common enemies. On the plus side, it's a beautiful DLC, and some of the dungeons feel better than the base game ever had, and half of the bosses were pretty fun. So, interesting. So he did give it a negative review. One thing I've heard as a contrast to many of these reviews is basically get good. Basically, there's a lot of people, from what I've heard through the grapevine, there's a lot of people who really do not like it because it's just too hard. And the average Souls player is like, well, that's more of a you problem. But let's see. It does seem to be that this guy has an issue with the difficulty level. Let's go to the next one. Is it read more? Okay. The lore was stupid. The bosses sucked, the world felt less natural and connected than the main game. The remembrances were garbage. The Erdtree fragments highly incentivized tank builds and forced you to explore every corner of the world every time you do the DLC, because every new game scales on the fact that you're supposed to have got all 20 levels last time you did it. So even if you want to catch up, you can't. And let's not mention the horrible performance issues with freezing and dropping down to 3 FPS at random time during boss fights. So the other guy did mention some performance issues as well. This guy doesn't seem to like anything. He didn't like the lore, which is a matter of taste. I think the lore in the base game is extraordinarily rich. So I'm wondering if the DLC enriches that. And according to this guy, it doesn't. It sucks, apparently. He says it felt less natural than the main game, the world, that is. So he just really didn't like any of it overall. I'm not sure what these Erdtree things are. I am currently playing my second playthrough of Elden Ring. I put in 300 hours in the base game and almost completed every little detail in it, but that was on my PlayStation 4. I'm replaying it now on my PC, and I have to start over from scratch. and I'm, in like maybe 50 or 60 hours, but I've got a long way to go, and I'm probably going to finish a good chunk of the game before I download the DLC. So that's where I'm at. So I don't know what some of these DLC things are going on. Made me want to play the base game again and never touch the DLC. Whoever thought Elden Ring needed a stealth zone and so many command grabs was fully incorrect. Really fun new items and gear, really enjoyable getting them. So there's good items, there's good new gear, but he didn't like the play style. He's talking about an entire stealth zone. Interesting. I rate this DLC 20 out of 100 frames. Okay, so frames, including the frame rate. So another issue with performance. After 90% of the boss fights developed into either A, avoid a 5 to 10 second long 8 to 15 attack chain combos with AoE spam for the chance to unleash one whole normal attack on the boss. Oh yeah, any of their attacks hitting you is going to do 50% of your health as well. You wanted to see any of the cool spells, weapon arts you got from the DLC? Too bad. Get effed. Normally, normal attack only. So it seems like he's saying that the bosses are so extremely hard, the window of opportunity for attack is so extraordinarily small that all of the cool new spells and things you get, you're not going to be able to use them at all just because, they're just too difficult and the window, you don't even have time to cast them. The boss is allowed to overlap attacks, so you have to be able to dodge a tracking project, maybe projectile, at the same time as the boss's big AoE. By the way, they both do 25% of your health minimum. Oh my god, I'm not reading all that. But you get the gist of it. So he seems to have serious problems with the attack box, the hit boxes, and just the overall difficulty. So we have lining up difficulty and performance and a few other little things, but those seem to be the two complaints that are rising up to the top right now. Should have mentioned that SSD is required for the DLC just to be able to play the game, so another performance complaint. I don't think it's balanced DLC, just buffed all enemies but players. Horrible game experience. So another issue with the difficulty. Not here to talk about the difficulty nor the gameplay. The new weapons are insanely fun. I have a lot of the new bosses, and the challenge is good at forcing you to adapt to a new world, harder world. I have no issue with the gameplay. The ending is perhaps the biggest narrative disappointment and slop FromSoft has created. If you have any love for Elden Ring's lore or story, don't play this DLC. It will do nothing other than disappoint you. So this guy's main issue is with the lore, and we have heard the lore come up in another complaint. So it sounds like the overall performance is one of the biggest issues, and right up next to that, so far, very close, is just the overall insane difficulty that makes it not fun, which is interesting because it is a Souls game, and everyone has loved all the other Souls games. Well, maybe not loved all of them, but a Souls game is generally much more difficult. But the third complaint that is slowly rising up as well is that the lore seems to suck. It's really good, don't get me wrong, but it's so poorly optimized, it's laughable. So performance again. Also, all the bosses are really great, except they went full jank with a few. As long as the optimization sucks, my review stays bad. So there's the last one. We'll read a little bit of this. It disappoints me to see a game with such a large impact on me release a DLC that fell way below my expectations. Firstly, I loved Midra, Mesmer, and Bailey. I know Mesmer's the main guy. I don't know who these others are. Are there spoilers in this? Massive World. The $40 DLC could have been released as base Elden Ring and still have blown up the internet. My main problem comes with the difficulty. Yeah, I'm one of those. Hard. Who thinks spending 10 hours fighting Radon isn't as important as spending that time with my family. Okay, well, that's a little, it's like, I don't know. When you say something like that, it's like I kind of want to respond with, can you just kind of get off your high horse a little bit? Like, we all have families, we all have real lives. This is a game, though, it's a Souls game. You are going to spend a lot of times. 10 hours is probably an extreme exaggeration. And he mentioned Radon. Anyone spending 10 hours on Radon needs to go back to Liurnia of the Lakes or Limgrave and just do a little bit of farming and level up a little bit, because it sounds to me like this guy is just either a noob or maybe they're a bit older and they're not really good at playing games. But the game seems a little bit too hard, and I haven't read the rest of this. I see lots of positive reviews on here being single brain called monkeys. Okay, yeah, this sounds like deflecting. It's too hard for me. I need to spend time with my family. Anyone who disagrees is this, or that. Let's go to some of these side ones over here. Recently posted major performance issues. Certain bosses will drop the frame rates. World map feels empty with not much worth exploring outside of collecting fragments and spirit ash buffs. Every boss will rush you the moment you enter the door, not allowing any summons. I like a challenge, okay? And again, I've put in hundreds of hours in this game, but I am one of those players who uses summons, okay? So that's not good. Buffs or things of such. Every boss is overtuned to hell. I'm pushing the final boss, which has an instant kill command grab if grabbed twice. And I have enjoyable maybe 3 bosses in the whole DLC. Honestly, not worth it until maybe FromSoft actually tunes things a bit better. Here's the thing about some of this stuff. I'm not going to read, I don't think any... Well, let's read one more. There's a small one. I love that this DLC is polarizing. It's exposing the tourist and blind fanboys. Instead of paying for this mediocre disappointment, save your $40 for something actually worth it. Well, he doesn't offer any constructive criticism. We actually got nerfs to a Souls game before we got GTA 6. Not because it's hard, but because they patched the hard. No, I don't want to play a scavenger hunt just to not be under-leveled. So, here's the thing about this. You know, it is seems to be polarizing. And all the players who are enjoying the game are basically responding with, you're whining, you need to get good, you need to get better. This is a difficult game. It's made to be that way. It's designed to be that way, and you're just complaining about it. And the thing is that I would agree if the number of complaints was smaller. This is half. It is almost half of every single person who has bought this DLC seems to not be overly fond of it. And the main complaints are, some is with the lore, so that's a little disconcerting because the lore is a huge part. But even more than that, the performance as well as the difficulty. And it sounds like every person mentioning the difficulty levels on this game, it's not that, well, the bosses are just too hard. It seems like they have been just so bumped up to the point of insanity to where it's not fair anymore. So I heard this one person say that in Souls games, it's always been very hard, but it's fair. Every boss has a weakness. All of them have a certain strategy to beat. So if FromSoft, goes against that, and they just buff the living hell out of the bosses to where they're almost impossible to beat, I guess I can kind of see where the frustration comes. But I'm just getting this secondhand information because I haven't played it myself. And so from someone who does plan on purchasing it, it's kind of like, let me see what people are saying. So this is Shadow of the Erdtree. Let's check out Elden Ring. And I want to see... It's very positive. It has received all reviews 639,465 reviews, and they're all very positive. In fact, there's only 63,000 negative reviews for the base game and over 800,000 positive reviews. And so all of these players going to the DLC are coming from the base game. And they all loved it. And now there's a huge chunk of them, almost half, is saying, coming from the base game, wow, this DLC isn't good. And its performance and boss difficulty, it doesn't seem like it has measured up. So it's a little disconcerting. I'm not sure. I still am going to play it. I will be, I just played Elden Ring today and there was an update to it, I noticed. And there's this new kind of thingamajiggy to where in the game, and it wasn't before the DLC came out, let me tell you at all, where whenever you acquire a new item, there's an actual new area where you can just see all new items. And I've been trying it out, and it is actually very helpful, and I like that a lot. So, in my Let's Play, by the way, shameless plug, I have another channel that's called Wayward Games, and you can watch all my Let's Plays on there, and the current Elden Ring playthrough is on there that I'm doing as well as Baldur's Gate, Hogwarts Legacy, a lot of open world games, stuff like that. I will still probably get the DLC and try it out in the future and just let the dust settle because it's going to take me a while to continue to work through the base game anyway. But in any case, I thought I'd check into this. I haven't read really any of these at all, and I wouldn't know what people are saying, but that's what it seems to be. But the performance one is the one that worries me because even if it's extremely difficult as all hell, I'm willing to give it a go. I'm willing to give it a shot and suffer the way everyone else is suffering. But if its performance and the FPS is just horrific, and my base setup, which isn't bad, can't handle it, that's an issue right there. That's, I don't know. Hopefully they work out the kinks and the bugs concerning any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts, and I would really love to know what you guys think. If you have played the Elden Ring DLC, do you agree with these reviews? Do you think that the bosses are just astronomically way harder than they need to be to the point to where it's just not even fun anymore? Or do you think this is kind of blown out of proportion a little bit? Do you feel that the performance sucks and that it's not good? I would go over the positive reviews, but this video is already getting longer, way longer than I thought it would. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon. All you have to do is make a YouTube account, which is free, and then hitting the subscribe button is also free. Goes a long way in helping out the channel, and I really appreciate it. So that's going to be it for today, guys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great freaking day.